Good morning, good afternoon. It's Sunday. Everything is a little late on a Sunday. Good afternoon and welcome to the Village Square Brunch, where we will talk food, farmers, markets, millets, and more. I really believe that food is the most universal language in the world. It's the language that all humans speak, even though it transcends words. I mean, if you think about it, it has the broadest possible spectrum. You have functionality, base needs over here. Without food, we would die. And yet, the spectrum is so huge that on this end, we have exquisite pleasure and joy, art and beauty. As some of the food bloggers joining us today would know even better than I, the beauty of food. How amazing that something that we need to survive is also something so beautiful and gives us a delight for so many senses, not just the belly, but the eyes and even the smells, obviously, and of course even the sounds of a kitchen cooking. So that's why we're here today. I think that it's great that we're going to be joined by a table full of people from food bloggers and food producers, marketers, and also data crunchers who've gone and got some amazing data about food. And that's not all. We also have an activist musician who will be able to entertain us at the end of our conversation with songs inspired by those who produce the food we eat, yes, the farmers. And of course, we do have food. They're all wondering, what about the food? So we have started today with the lovely jaggery and lemon fresh drink to keep us cool, because it is very hot in Delhi. And we will be going on to 8 courses where we will have dishes that will tell us how to make millets an enjoyable, tasty food. Yes, millets can be tasty. And we'll find out why they're really crucial to our society as well. And what I would like to do to kick us all off is to actually talk about and unveil a very important study from the Data Intelligence Unit. And they have done a pan-India study that has found out so many things about millets. We all know it's the year of the millets, but this is the first actual report that gives us real information, and by information I mean numbers, that gives us real information about just how interested India is in millets. We're hearing a lot about it, but are Indians actually consuming millets? So I'd like our first guest, and then after this launch of this report, I promise we will start our first dish, which will be blueberry pancakes. But before, so that we don't get syrup all over the report, I would like for everyone to take a copy of the report, and then we can turn over to my friend and colleague Sandeep, who is in charge of the Data Intelligence Unit and can tell us some of the highlights, if you just grab that microphone there, Sandeep, some of the highlights from this very, very worthy report. How are you doing? Just give it a little hello, hello, and you'll see if it's on.
Hello, hello.
Very good.
Oh, great.
All right, you've done this before. Does everybody have a report? Fabulous. So I think what's interesting when I was talking to you earlier about this, Sandeep, is we have this conception, lots of misconceptions about millets. And I think one of the most interesting misconceptions that we had to begin with is that we think that millets are maybe unknown to Indians, but that's not necessarily the case, is it?
Yeah. The survey certainly threw up that around 60-65% of India at some point or the other, whether it's once or whether it's regularly, have consumed millets. So it's not something which is unknown to Indians. 60-65% have consumed millets, but there is a caveat with this. Out of those 60-65%, about 15% consume it regularly as part of their regular household diet. The rest of the people are infrequent consumers.
So in other words, somebody might have had a millet cookie once.
Yes, that's
once
right.
in
That's
their
right.
life.
That's
so they've
right.
technically consumed millets.
But as an alternate staple, it's not unknown to most Indian households.
Okay.
People do know about it. It's not something which is only being eaten in the state of Karnataka in the form of ragi, chapati, or in the northeast who have been consuming millets in history for very, very long time. Or even in Rajasthan who consumes bajra and jowar. It's fairly common across everybody, but it's not that everybody is sort of accepted as part of their regular diet. And very honestly speaking, our idea is not just to popularize millet, but to get people more healthy by consuming millets.
Okay.
And for that, some amount of regularity in consumption is required. So we're still a little bit off from that, but it's a start.
Well, we're definitely going to talk about how we go from sort of farm to table with millets. But I think that there's one more statistic. There's many, many statistics in this. And I think what's interesting is to remember that this is actually a booklet full of stats that's meant for actually people trying to market millets. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
So it is meant for the restaurateurs, the cafes. And I must say, by the way, I forgot to mention that we're here in the center of Delhi. We're in Dilli Hut, and we're at the Millets Experience Cafe. So that's why every dish that we have today for our brunch will have millets of one kind or another in them. But the other thing that I thought was so interesting about this report is that there's a notion that millets is the food of the salt of the earth people. It's the food of rural people. But actually, your statistics, your survey found that that's not necessarily all to the story, is it?
Yeah, things have changed right now. We found about 26% of high-income households. 26% of high-income households consume millets, and 25% of low-income households. It's a wrong notion that it's a poor man's food. It's no longer a poor man's food. Some amount of advertising, some amount of pushing the envelope must have worked. It's now, it just might be a lifestyle thing to come and start consuming millets, but people in the higher end of the spectrum has also adopted millets as much as people at the lower end of the spectrum. So it's no longer a poor man's food.
Well, and that's interesting. I don't know where the middle of the spectrum is, but people at the high end, in case you couldn't hear, Sandeep said people at the high end of the demographics love millets, are consuming millets, and people obviously more in the rural areas are as well. And I think one of the reasons for that high end has been the notion that millets is so healthy. And I know that a few of you have been writing about the fact that health is part of where food is today, and that food is attractive to people because of its health qualities. But now I would like to talk to my colleague from Transform Rural India, an associate director of Transform Rural India, Nirja. You have been working with women in Chhattisgarh, some of whom are here in the kitchens, working and making this food over there. We've got a few. We will be eating the wonderful food they're making, and we'll be finding out how hard they're working. They have a cafe in Raigad. And can you tell us a bit about the initiative and the cafe? But before we do that, I would like everyone to take a bite of their blueberry pancake. And this is an eating talk and eat. So there's nothing wrong. I will not be offended if you're eating and munching as we are having our conversation. So please, there are 8 dishes to come. We have a few people that don't have dishes here. So can we, oh, you're not. Okay, sorry. So please tell us how you guys have embraced millets, and about the Millets Cafe, which, by the way, was mentioned by Prime Minister Modi in his Mann Ki Baat speech about 3 months ago. Yeah. And when you talk, make sure that your mouth is a bit close to the mic. There will be some popping peas, but it's better to hear you than not.
Yeah. Hello? Yeah. I think people can hear me. So we started working in Chhattisgarh on millets since 2018. Mainly we've been promoting millets and empowering women through millets. And we came across many recipes that these women consumed at home but were not popular. On the other hand, there's intermingling of culture of mainstream diets such as pizzas, noodles, taking place everywhere, and there's penetration in the rural areas. So how do we make these two extreme and meet? And then we came up with this concept of Millets Cafe, where we could do a mix of traditional as well as mainstream diet that could popularize millets in the urban areas and also popularize the rural recipes and also empower women. And as we all know that millets are farmer friendly, they're planet friendly and also good for health. So this was the whole idea and it took off well, and it's now a brand in itself. A lot of food bloggers visit this place, so it is now a brand in itself. Yeah.
And I think there's a cultural significance to millets in Chhattisgarh as well. Do you want to talk a moment about that?
Yeah, so it has a huge significance. There are a lot of songs, lot of poems, limericks at weddings. There are a lot of mentions of millets. So for example, if you marry someone from Bastar, then you're sure to, get millet-based feast. There are a lot of poems and limericks about women who do back-breaking work in the fields, especially growing millets, how painful it is, as well as things related to their nutrition, also its importance, because millets also bring prosperity. So there is mention of things like if you hang a crop of millets at the entrance of your home, it is auspicious, things like that. And popularly in Chhattisgarh, women call it a shameless grain because it grows and thrives in worst of the conditions. So they all call it shameless or besharam.
I love that. I love that. Shameless green. In fact, we on Village Square, villagesquare.in, on our website, we've done a wonderful video, which is actually a small taster to a documentary that you and your team have produced, which I'm watching with my family tonight. It's just 12 minutes, but I highly recommend. May I officially say that the documentary is officially launching on TRI's YouTube channel now. We will be sending all of you, our guest, a link to it as well if it hasn't already automatically gone out. But it is now live on our YouTube channel. It's very sweet. We've done a little teaser on Village Square, on Village Square's YouTube channel. So you can see that, where we've really picked up on the shameless greens part, because that's pretty cool, isn't it? To think that there's something so hardy, it actually can get this name, and that can be what it's locally called. And I think that's great. So we not only are launching the data, the assessing consumer demand for millets in India, we're launching the documentary as well that you and your team have put together. And also, I would like everyone, before you go, I won't pass it around now since there's more food coming, but there's also a fabulous millets recipe cookbook. So some of the things that you're tasting today and many others that, as Nirja says, are important to Chhattisgarh will be featured in that. I would like to say, before we go on to the next course, I'm a little remiss for not letting you know the millets that were in this pancake. Foxtail and jowar, also called sorghum. So how interesting is that? I have so many people in my life I know who are gluten intolerant, as many people are, because we've OD'd as a society on gluten, and it's wonderful to have so many other options. Now, I will say that not everything that you're going to have today is gluten-free, because some of it has been mixed with a little bit of gluten. But isn't it wonderful to think, I don't know what you guys think, but I think it's great. I make pancakes all the time. Admittedly, my pancakes are atta pancakes, so I'm used to a grainier pancake, but I love it. Before I get to the deli walks and food bloggers, I would like to talk to Vinay Mahajan, who is, believe it or not, an architectural engineer by schooling and occupation early on in his life. But he gave that up because he was inspired by those who produce our food. And I think as Nirja was talking about the significance of millets in Chhattisgarh, I saw you nodding your head when she was talking about how it's in the prose, it's in the poetry, it's in the songs. And I wondered if you could just share a moment on how you think food plays out in people's lives and then comes out in the art form like music and poetry as well. Oh.
Yeah, I guess when we talk of the product crops like millets, they are everywhere, literally in all parts of the culture. And to pass on the knowledge of these millets, how they are grown, how useful they are. The millet producing communities have been creating songs all through, and there are, I will talk a little bit about during my presentation also, there are literally hundreds of songs produced by such communities, and trust me, it's not easy. I mean, for example, even if you take some of the topmost lyricists in the Bollywood film industry and ask them to write a song or a poem without touching pen and paper, it's impossible. It's impossible. But these people have created those hundreds of songs on the go while they are working in some of the most rugged, most testing working conditions. So song, to me, whatever they have created, it's not for the purpose of creation of a song. It's a culture. It's not that somebody is a lyricist, somebody is a composer, and somebody is a singer. They all create lyrics, they all create composition together, and they all sing and dance together. It's like, there is a person called Ted Gia. He has written a book called Work Songs, in which he is saying he went to a community in Africa, and those people here, and he was sitting, and people were dancing and singing, and they invited him, why don't you join? And he says, I can't dance. He says, what do you mean you can't dance? I mean, it's like saying I don't eat food. So communities have been like that all through. So I think that and some of those songs which we have documented last 2 years, maybe 3-4 them in a medley, I will present the kind of songs they have written. So it's all over. I think that's something which is so extremely creative, extremely beautiful, and extremely, the composition and the lyrics, the way they sync with each other is phenomenal.
Like I say,
Yeah.
The universal language that inspires the other universal language, which is music.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fabulous. Well, we're going to be
Absolutely,
hearing your songs as we end today's conversation. And I
sure.
hope everyone will stick around for that because it will be amazing. And I would also like later to talk a little bit more about your work that you do with your organization and
Sure.
interactions in colleges. But I now am very happy to be joined by various different members of the digital community. And digital and pounding pavements. I have the two people from Delhi Food Walks. Right here is Anubhav Sapra, who I believe is did both of you found it together, or are you the original founder? You're the original founder. And he is joined by Aishwarya Khanna, appropriately named Aishwarya Khanna for this occasion, so that's great. Aishwarya, I would actually just like to shake things up a little bit and start with you, because I wanted to just pivot a bit off what you had said in one of your reports, that you had said that you are really passionate about better health for all. And I think that pivots off from what we're talking about in terms of the health value of millets. So can I start with you, and then I want to know more about the Delhi Walks as well. But can we talk about the health value? And why you think healthy food, is it fashionable?
It's not fashionable because for me it's a personal choice. It's something that has been taught to me from my family, who really believe in good health. My sister is very passionate about good health. My mom has always encouraged us to have homemade food. The use of millets hasn't been too frequent, but me being a passionate foodie have always researched on millets. Like, that's what I love. Like, I love eating out a lot, but I also love what India has to offer on like the rural scale. So I do a lot of exploring on my own, and that's where I feel millets are very important. So.
And I guess that exploring is how you came to
Yes.
meet.
Yes.
How you
exactly.
came to meet Anubhav.
Exactly.
And now tell me your story, because you're obviously, like I think most of us around this table, a foodie. You love food. Please tell me how that journey took you to Old Delhi and made you create the Delhi Food Walks, and what some of the highlights have been.
I started Delhi Food Walks in 2010, and the idea was to just explore the lesser known places in Delhi, what to eat, where to eat Delhi. And then I started curating food walks in all over Delhi. Like now we have around 17 different curated food tours, and we do it in different locations. And now I also run a YouTube channel, which I started in 2018. And I travel all over India to explore the local food. So I've been to all the states of India except Mizoram and Tripura. And I've consumed millets in all different forms. From, say, in North India, she is from Uttarakhand. There you have jhangore ki kheer. And in South Karnataka, you have ragi mudde. Or if you're going to Rajasthan, there you have baje ki khichdi or raab. Or you go to northeastern India, there also they consume in different forms. And Chhattisgarh, the ladies are from there. So yeah, like millets have been part of our food culture since ages. And then I don't know, like because of green revolution, we all stopped eating it. Now it's coming back, and we can see it in metro cities. It has become more of a fashion to consume millets. So it's really important to understand, and we have to kind of balance it. But it's not only like you start consuming millets every day. You have to balance it with other ingredients as well.
That is true. I mean, we can't go overboard.
Yeah.
I come from America where a fad comes in, and before you know it, everybody's only exclusively doing that fad, and then there becomes toxicity because there's too much consumption. So everything in moderation is what my mother always said. Not that I have always obeyed, but it has put me in good stead when I listen to her. But tell me something. I think one thing that really resonates with the work that you do is you say that you want to connect food with people.
Yeah.
And connect people with food. And how do you see that playing out? Do you see that as you've gone on, that you've had more and more people find that this is something that they want to do in Delhi, this is something they want to do all over, that we've already heard from Anish Kumar, co-founder of Transform Rural India, who has said that actually his real love and the job that he'd really like to do is just be a city wandering foodie. So it is something that I think many of us, we've turned into gastro tourists. Yeah. It's become like our modus operandi. We don't go to visit a place just to see the temple or the mosque. We actually go to see what restaurants are on offer. Do you think that that's something new? And if so, why is it happening now in our culture?
What you talked about is all about food tourism. Now it's become more popular in past 10 years because of the onset of social media, and then people have started traveling all over the world. It's like very easy to travel anywhere in India or maybe outside of India. So food has become an important part of it. So when people go outside or visit any place, apart from sightseeing, what people look for is the food, local food. And for me, what we do is we try to tell the stories of people through food. And that's what we do. Like we try to connect people through food.
I love that. Like I said, one of the earliest forms of communication is breaking bread with people and showing you welcome someone into your house by offering them something to eat. Okay, the next round of food has arrived. And of course, now we're going from the western end of brunch to the home Indian end. And what is that? But of course, we've got a dosa and we've got an idli. Now we know that those are typically made from dal and rice, but no, not today. So the dosa is ragi and kangni. Kangni? Oh, okay, almost got there. And the idli, I love this. The idli is made from little millet. Yeah, that's very cute. That's appropriate for an idli, which I don't think there's a child around that doesn't like to eat idli. And what would you say if you say, come and eat idlis that are made from little millets? It just sounds so fairy tale-like. So now, they are busy can you see them at that end of the table? You see what they're doing? They're doing what all millennials and Gen Z, Gen Zers do? They're taking pictures of their food. And by the way, they've probably made an occupation of it because they're food bloggers. So this is, at my house, devices are not allowed on the table. But we're going to allow it today because this is why you're here. I would like to move to Anushka Raj because I think it's really lovely. You have said before that you're on a mission to glorify the simplest foods, the simplest meals. So can you talk about that for a minute?
I think in India, a lot of...
and just talk a little close to the mic because...
Am I audible now? Yeah. So I think not particularly in India, but like overall, a lot of foods are there that are underrated and people don't know about it. Being from Uttarakhand myself, my family has been having millets, barnyard millets specifically, Anubhavji was just mentioned, since ages, and I did not know about it until a few years back. So ever since then, I started creating content, got into food blogging and everything. I started exploring millets. And we consume millets on a daily basis at my house. Be it ragi, that's barnyard millet and all of things. So yes, I'm just trying to do a lot of research and read a lot of stuff about food that is underrated and trying to glorify it and put it out there so that people can connect with it. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
I think you guys need to talk.
Yes,
Because,
yeah.
because we call her the queen of millets at TRI, and she's a woman on a mission, and it sounds like you are as well.
You can say that.
And I think, as it's the year of millets in India, as promoted by the government, there are going to be more and more millet initiatives, millet meals, and functions happening that would be great to keep in touch with you about.
Definitely.
But what interests me, Ishika, is that you say that you're wanting to connect.
Yes.
And it just feels like this generation, and maybe it's innate in all of us, that we connect with visuals.
Yes.
And
yes.
it's those visuals that get people's eyes
Yes.
popping.
Yes.
How have you seen the response been when you do put these simple meals up and these unusual dishes that people haven't heard of? What's been your response?
It has been great. People, because everyone uses social media, whosoever it is. So people connect with it, really connect. They're like, wow, finally someone has put it out there. So, that's when I feel that, okay, yes, I'm on the right path. Like, I am trying to glorify the simplest meals, be it something very simple made with millets. So, yes, I think people connect it, like, very deeply.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, I would like to now move across to our other food blogger, Ishika Tayal. And you have this way of taking pictures and videos that just make food gorgeous. And it really connects. And you can't not look. So you must have great landing time on all of your videos, because you can't take your eyes off it when you see something being created and made. So can you tell us how you got into this and why you think there's such beauty in food? But before you do that, if I could just ask the staff to make sure that the chap, can we get a dish here, a dosa here for my friend here? Okay, so you got to try everything. Oh, no. Okay, go ahead,
Okay,
Ishika.
so how I started, basically I was, I used to go out a lot with my family and stuff. So like I started clicking pictures. It was like very nice, mega logo ko. I should, promote it. So
Close.
yeah. So initially I started posting pictures, and then when I started receiving love from the audience and they were, really, they were feeling really connected with the food, I thought let's show them the making of the video as well. Like how is that food being made from basic stage to like till then they are eating. So yeah, that's how I started, and I think there's never looking back now. So I'm loving doing it because people are really keen to know that how is this food being actually made. And now when the nation is moving towards millets and stuff, I'm looking really forward to shoot these videos as well. Like I'm really glad you have launched this recipe book for the millets, because I believe it's really necessary for people to know what they can make from this. So yeah.
Wonderful, and I hope that at some point you might go back into the kitchen and have they finished cooking for the day? They have.
Sure, I would love to.
Okay.
Do that.
Oh, that would be wonderful. Wonderful. Well, at the other end of the table, looking. Wow. Glamorous and not as windblown as the rest of us on this end of the table, we have Nilakshi RJ, who is a slow food, slow fashion believer and writer. And you had a post about weird food combinations, and that really struck me as interesting, because I think thinking outside the box is what we're doing today when it comes to millets and trying to have a menu that surprises people. After we have our brunchy foods, we're going to move on to lunchy foods, pizza, pasta, made from millets. So is that a weird food combination, or is that just now going to be normal? And do speak close to the mic.
Yeah, so for me, something which we're already eating in different states, in different cities, in different, eras, I would say. such as jalebi and dahi. So this is a very weird combination for Delhi people, but this is a very beautiful combination for Uttar Pradesh. And we're actually eating this in a very, in a shock say, chatkare leke, with that zaika. We're actually eating that. But in Delhi, people are like, oh, what is this? Dahi and jalebi? You should be rabdi and jalebi. So for them, it is weird. So for my agenda was not to showcase something which is actually weird, but something weird but actually eatable and very tasty also.
So weird being more unknown
Yeah.
as opposed to truly uneatable. Not
Exactly.
uneatable, just unknown.
Yes.
Well, I would like to know what you make so far of the brunch dishes that we've had. As I say, we're trying to do the brunch proper, which is a combination of breakfast and lunch. We've had a few breakfast, at least for South Indians. I know here in Delhi people eat dosas every hour of the day.
Yeah.
But if we're in South India, it's a breakfast dish.
Yeah.
What do you make of it? Does it taste much different being made from not the traditional rice and dal?
So I totally believe in जैसा खाए अन्न वैसा होए मन, जैसा पिए पानी वैसी हुई वाणी. मतलब means whatever we eat, it actually directly affects on our mind. And whatever we drink, it affects on our voice, in our speaking, in our boli. So definitely, millet is something which is coming from generations. It's like an old thing. Old is gold. So definitely, it's something beautiful, tasty, healthy, and of course, lighter side. So it doesn't, it actually affects your health also, weight also. Nowadays, it's a very severe issue of being overweight or underweight. This is something which will help you maintain as well. So definitely it's not weird. It's definitely ours. It's like, kuch apna sa. It feels like ours.
Nice, I
Yeah.
like that. So this end of the table, can we have some reviews for the food so far? Okay, go on, give us a review.
Is amazing.
Oh, say that again.
The food is amazing.
Say it again.
The food is
I'm
amazing.
sorry, I didn't hear that.
It's amazing. I loved it.
What is it you like about it?
The pancakes were chef's kiss. Literally. Loved it. You could not tell there's millets. It tastes like better than the regular pancakes. This dosa is, I don't have words.
That's why you have your camera.
Yes.
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 All right,
definitely.
shall we?
Yeah, I think I agree with her. It's the dosa is amazing. The pancake was amazing, and I think we're having breakfast, lunch, everything together. So it's
Okay, and what's been your favorite?
Yeah, okay. I haven't tasted dosa yet.
Okay.
So I really loved the pancake because whenever we think about millet, people say that it might not be, very tasty or something. But today, if anyone has this, blueberry pancake, they'll forget everything. The millets are untasty, they're not tasty or stuff. They're gonna forget everything. It's perfect.
So now I would like to know when you're going to put Dilly Hut Millet Experience Cafe on your stop.
Yeah, I think we should add on our food experience the Millet Cafe as well.
Awesome. What did you like?
I have tried pancake. It was really good, very soft and fluffy. That's how it should be. And that's it. I still have to try dosa and idli.
Okay, well we've stopped you from eating. Can I just grab that mic? Thank you so. Can I have? Can I have it? Thank you so much. Now I would like to hear from the silent side of the table, putting you on the spot over here. Since you're actually a big foodie, I would like to know, Anish ji, what you make of the food today.
First thing, my fingers were fastest fingers. I completed everything. So you know
You
how I
hated,
felt
you
about
hated it, didn't you?
Yes.
What was your favorite?
When you have everything as favorite, I don't know what is the word for that. You got to invent a word, fantabulously feb.
I'm sure there
Fab.
must be a word in Hindi for that I don't know.
Adbhut.
Okay. Anubham ji, what about you?
I thought the blueberry pancake was very good because we have been using different kinds of millet batter and this kind of stuff, but the idea of a pancake with millets, those are, I think, possibly the way forward to look at. Typically, where in your mind you don't think about Western food and millets as the base. So those are possibly the way forward.
Awesome. And everybody else can just, in a word, I would like to know, are you trepidatious or excited about the thought of millet pasta and millet pizza?
No, I really don't like millet pasta, and in fact, I hate it actually because
Let's
I
see.
always whenever I usually attend lot of millet related fairs and other things in across India. In fact, I was the person who looks after millets in my organization, so I visit several places. Whenever I feel, when talk about millet enterprises, millet startups, I think this is a big problem. We are going to the satisfying the tongue. You go with and ease of cooking and business. These three are essential elements nowadays. But you forget that why you bring millets back, and the health consciousness. I think that is missing somehow. When you are eating cookie, you are adding maida in it. You are losing that millet, the advantage of millet. So I really doesn't like if something around pasta, cookies, these things. Rather, I love this dosa, idli, and whatever traditional millets foods. There are hundreds of millet foods, and in fact, our SHG members used to bring, whenever we organize millet food festivals, we got around 100, 120 varieties of foods.
See, I think it's really interesting because now I'd like to come to you, Sandeep ji, for just a minute, because I think one of the things that your study showed is that today, if you are going to sell millets, it has to be sold and packaged in the right way. That right now, there's so little understanding about millets right now. People aren't necessarily ready for the way it's eaten in rural India. So maybe those millet cookies have to be that bridge. We need to sort of have that bridge first. You found some interesting.
I mean, one of the very strong demands that came from non-consumers is that if you can have prepared millets, not in the raw form, which has to be ground and all that, prepared millets, which comes in a recipe. The recipe has to come in the box and with its own seasoning. Now that's going to have a huge market. It also looks at millet products with artificial flavors and smell, like strawberries and stuff like that. People would buy it. But having said that, I just want to talk about one more thing, which I found a little bit contradictory from the research. The research showed that
a little louder.
The research showed that a large number of people who don't consume millets right now said that it leaves a very bad, bitter aftertaste. Now, I was looking for that in the food which I'm having, and I couldn't find it. So I guess it all boils down to knowing how to make it.
That's
right?
such a good point.
None of it was bitter.
That's just in case you didn't hear. He said that in the report that a lot of people said the reason they eschew millets or don't want to go for millets is because there's a bitter aftertaste. But he's not finding that. Are y'all finding that? No.
It's the way how you process it. So millet has to be processed properly, then only you can consume it. And then second thing is also about like how you make it palatable. Like the dishes which you are serving out here, that's how you're doing it. And the third aspect is how you market it. So you have to kind of take care of all different aspects of millets.
Thank you. That is such a good point. And okay. Well, and a foodie who is also a data cruncher. So also a man with a data background, you would find it interesting as well that the study also says that in order to market millets, there's three very important things, right? That you've got to have the price right. Indians, very price conscious, that if the price is not right, they're not going to go for it. The taste, as we've been talking about, and also freshness. So if you pick up that mic, I'd like to know what you think about the food that you've had here, and has it been surprising given the report that DIU has put out?
Firstly, for me, it is a homecoming at this place. It's like something I was part of, let's say around 20 years back, 2003, Bhopal Utsav, where we started something like this. It was called as Satpura Organics. And for 3 days, in Bhopal festival is a very long festival, we served tribal food, Chappan Bhog, Adivasi Bhog, with tribal music, Shaila, Bhadoni, Karma. So that was what a concept. But I think we were way ahead of time and I see that now People are talking about millets, people are eating millets, and in different forms. One of the learnings at that time also was that how you make a food which is stigmatized, I would say, at that moment of time.
Right.
It has a different taste, palatable for the people who live in high rises or the very rich, the very uber rich. That was a big question. And I think this study resonates that still the question still remains. In what form? Price I don't think is an issue. I wrote something about a few weeks back. I wrote a blog on this in which that it's time that actually the person who has conserved and still growing this gets a better deal, because the person who is eating is paying for it. Yeah, he's ready to pay for it, but that guy is still not getting a good deal. So I don't think the pricing is an issue. The packaging is more an issue, and how you make it palatable, because the way it is formed, I was just saying out loud, suppose like a dish called maheri, which is essentially buttermilk and makka. It's a rural staple in Bundelkhand. If you go, everywhere it's like, it's a breakfast dish. Or mahue ka lata is something which is essentially also made something like that. That cannot be something which is palatable for an urban palate. This is not. So in what form it comes, okay, and maybe it's like going slow, giving something in palatable doses, slightly making people accustomed to those tastes. Because I think in the longer run, we have to bring the taste of that. The millet, the kodo should taste like kodo, the jowar should taste like jowar. Yeah, so I think, but yeah, it's a long journey, and it's really exciting to see the kind of journey millets have had, okay? And something that started by a good old friend Shankar, which is the original millet man of India, and that was where the first, I think, the millet restaurant he also started in Medak district, Zahirabad. It's really heartening to see the way things are moving. Yeah. And
well, I'm always interested in hearing somebody who says, I think we were a little ahead of our time. Because, that means we've got to keep an eye on him. Because he's probably on the vanguard of trends then. Because when you're ahead of your time, people just take a long time to follow, but they will get there eventually. Now, our next course, and we'll probably be wrapping up the conversation and moving on to some music, but I would like to say that the next course that we're getting is pizza. Pizza made of ragi, also known as finger millet. And the pasta, we're back to the little millet. So we get to try these two dishes and see what they're like. And I would like to go to you, Nilakshi, again. And I would like to know, A, what you think of the dishes, but then also just riffing off a little bit of what was being said about, is the Indian, urban Indian, maybe not rural Indian, but is the urban Indian ready for millets that's not done in a sort of fancy fusion way?
I think I'm really pretty sure that urban India is definitely ready, because we all are looking forward and we all are seeking towards healthier side of the food and the tastier side of the food, and millet having like both the sides. So I feel if big restaurants and big chefs and big industries especially, it starts promoting this kind of food, which is actually ours, truly ours, belongs to us. So it will be a really boom, and it will be a really great response from all the people, from all the housemaids. Because actually we are the one who bought all the artificial food also in our kitchen, and we are the one who can actually bring back to the originality. So why not?
I think that's an amazing point and a great place to end this conversation. Because I think what we've really learned today is that this is here, this is real, there's no bitter aftertaste. There is a way of fusing different cultures and different foods. And I think what's great as well is if we can do this again and feature different foods from rural India. As we do on villagesquare.in, we feature all sorts of interesting foods. Ant chutney, an apricot chutney made not from the apricot fruit, but the nut that's inside of the pit of the apricot. There's just so much rich variety in India in its rural cuisines and kitchens that we're not getting, even at a place in the capital which represents so many different states, which is why Delhi is such an amazing place. But it's beginning, and I think millets is helping lead that way. So I would like to thank everybody here today. I will say that just the other dishes that we have, for those watching at home and curious what's being consumed, we've got the pizza and pasta, and maybe I'll just have a quick thumbs up or down in a minute to see what people think of that. Then we're also going to have a puri, but made of jowar, and then we're going to have a jowar tiki. Oh, but that's not all. There's dessert to come as well. So we have 2 dessert dishes, again, one Indian, one Western. We've got the kodo, have I said that right? Kodo, millet kheer. And then we're going to have chocolate cake made from a variety of millets. Which ones? Well, amarkant, and we're going to have jowar again, and there will be a little bit of rice and oat in that. So it'll be a mix, a fusion. And with that, let's just have a quick round of the table. Have you tried it? Oh, go on. Let's see you try it. I'll come down. I'll come back to you guys then at that end of the table. I'll move on to this end of the table. And what do you think, Nilakshi? Interesting? What you thought it would taste like? Does it taste like ordinary pizza and pasta? Or is it a little bit different? Good, bad, okay?
So what happened is, whenever we try to cook pizza or pasta at home now, it exactly tastes like that. But what if we actually cook pasta and pizza with the great ingredients like millets? So anyway, it's going to taste like that, so why not some good ingredients, right?
I mean, when you have cheese and tomato sauce on anything,
Yeah.
it's good.
It's good.
I mean, it's got to be good,
Exactly.
right? Anish, thumbs up? Anirban, what do you think? You're a hard customer to please. Thumb up, down, middle. Oh, I put him on the spot, really, but that.
No, see, my problem with this pista and is, I think over a period of maybe down the line 10 years, again, see, when the maida is promoted, we told a lot of, good about maida, and we promoted it. Now we realize it is, detrimental to health. I am worried about that factor. If you promote millets and in this form, then maybe down the line 10 years we will say you are eating this and your health is ruining, and it actually defeat the basic purpose of promoting millets. That is
Okay,
my
so basically back to my mom. Everything in moderation. But it's good that we have an outlier, a different view. But I think it's nice that we've got a round table full of different views and discussions. And thumbs up, thumbs down. What do you think for the pasta and pizza? Up. Still a purist. Okay, he's a purist, so another bit of an outlier. Are you, yeah? I have to say I thought the pasta was pretty damn good. Ooh, sorry. And what did you think?
Yes, it was amazing.
Great. And what about this end? Okay, you're refraining. He liked that blueberry pancake. What about you guys? Yeah? Thumbs up? Okay, well, I hope to see a lot of pictures and blogs and posts about millets and about rural food in general. And maybe the next time we meet again, we'll be hanging out with you on a walk that will hopefully include some rural food and millets. Thank you everyone so much. And now, without further ado, I would like to invite our musician who is going to tell us stories about the people that produce our food and sing for us and let us waft into the Sunday afternoon. Sir, would you like to take the stage? And a big round of applause for everyone. It would be wonderful, Sanjana, if you did a proper introduction.
Hello.
सी मैं पर्सनली सर के बारे में बताना चाहती हूँ बिकॉज आई एम अ बिग फैन ऑफ हिज म्यूज़िक एंड आई हैव लर्नड अ लॉट फ्रॉम हिज म्यूज़िक बिकॉज I remember my days on field when we used to work with panchayat women and panchayat sarpanch, and we used to like present the songs. मेरे हाथों को ये जानने का हक है. It still gives me goosebumps, and I can't stop like crying or like listening to those lyrics, which literally contemplate the feeling of a person who goes through that feeling. So it's a huge respect for me at least to have him here, and I hope that you will all feel the same after ending his performance. And for his time when he will be singing, I would request if people will not like eat food but patiently listen to his music. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sanjay. I have been introduced as a musician, which I am not. You will know that very soon. I'm basically an agricultural engineer, and then I studied my management from Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, way back, and was with the corporate sector for about 2-3 years, but my aptitude and my partner, who is an architect planner, our aptitude was different, so we shifted to research. So we study the livelihood issues of the communities that are dependent on the natural resources, like farmers, like tribals, people who make salt, pastoral nomads, all of these communities, and whatever experiences we have in the field, it's our deep desire to share some of those learnings. And one way is you write your reports, but we feel the better way is through the songs that we write, compose, and we perform at various places. So I had in mind to sing 2-3 songs that we have written, and some songs that we have learned from the communities that have written those songs. But I feel the kind of time that we have at hand, I will let go the songs that we have written, and I'll focus more on the songs that have been created by so-called illiterate, backward communities. Please allow me to digress for 1 minute. I would like all of us to stand up and observe silence for 1 minute in the memory of all those victims of Hiroshima bombing. Today is 6th of August. That's a Hiroshima Day. 1 minute, please, of silence. Thank you so much. Let me begin with a song which is, instead of singing full songs, I'll sing some kind of a medley, 2 lines, 4 lines, just to give the flavor of the ideas that I really wish to communicate from my heart. You know, when 9/11 happened, 3,000 innocent people, they lost their lives. It was considered an act of terrorism. Innocent people died. Yes, it was that, what it was called. It is still covered in our media. All the television channels, they covered it. But on 9/11, there was something else also that happened. What was that? 16,000 children, they died of starvation. 16,000 children. It never came into any paper. It was not a news in any channel. Nobody talked about it. It was not newsworthy. Not only on 9/11, but next day also 16,000 children lost their lives Next day also, yesterday, today, and tomorrow again. 16,000 children will lose their life. Out of those 16,000, 4,000 belong to our country. 4,000 children die of starvation after 10,000 years of farming. 10,000 years of farming, having developed more than 1 lakh varieties of rice, more than 10,000 varieties of maize, more than 5,000 varieties of potatoes, and around 6,000 varieties of millets in the world, when our godowns are overflowing with the grains, our children are still dying of starvation. And so it's a story about two kids on the road, a brother and his younger sister, who has not eaten since a long time, and she's on the verge of collapsing, and her brother is holding her head in his lap and is humming something. What is he humming? Is this song, a part of that song I'll sing. बच्ची है नन्ही सी, सुंदर है परियों सी, जिस दिन से भूखी है वो 14 नवंबर थी, जिस दिन से भूखी है वो 14 नवंबर थी। बच्ची है नन्ही सी, थोड़े चावल एक रोटी, बस इतना कहती, एक रंग की एक रोटी तो 3 तिरंगे की, एक रंग की एक रोटी तो 3 तिरंगे की, क्या होती आजादी वो मुझसे है कहती, क्या होती आजादी वो हमसे है कहती। La 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 la, वो 14 नवंबर थी। You know, many times there are lakhs of children, millions of children who are doing child labor. Around 20 million minimum in country, that's in our country, that's what there have been estimates. Who are these children who starve? Who are these children who are doing labor? They have no childhood. We think a little and we get the idea that these are the children who belong to the parents who work with their hands, manual laborers, so-called. All the traditional systems, whether it is farming or salt making, or leather tanning, or it is pastoralism, or it is fishing, or the stone breaking, all of these people, and hands, the people who are working with their hands, they are foundations. Normally, when I was studying in my engineering and management institute, people say, oh, it takes 25 years to prepare an engineer. So engineers should earn more. Naturally, they should earn more. But a farmer says, it has taken me 10,000 years to come to a level where I am today. How much I should earn? The farmers are committing suicides. The weavers are committing suicides. The salt makers are debt-ridden. I mean, what kind of society do we want? What is this development? What is this development actually? And people who are, I mean, what is backward? I mean, the person who is weaver is weaving with, he's like Kabir, for example. You know, weaving, warp and the weft. And now is weaving on the handloom. The weavers are weaving with their hands. You mechanize that operation, that is textile industry. Textile industry is advancement. Weaving is backward. It's not backward, it is foundation. It's not backward, it is the foundation. And that happens in every technology. If there were no dialects, the languages could not have come. If there were no folk dances, classical dances cannot come. If there were no folk music, classical music was impossible. If there were no building technologies, the people who build up their homes in the caves. And we are talking about cuisines today, for example. How does a cuisine begin? What is most fundamental to a cuisine? Most fundamental. We will say, oh, of course, the ingredients are there, the millets are there, the oil is there, some spices are there, you know, but there is something much more fundamental, and that is fire. Fire, the history of fire, the earliest known, remnants of the fire, the ashes have been found in Kenya, and those are 1.4 million years old ashes have been found, and human beings began using fire for their kitchens regularly around 250,000 years ago. 250,000 years ago, and millets and the markets are very new. So, are we to be, or for example, when we talk of millets, we talk of nutrition, obviously. We talk of health, yes. We talk of inputs. Oh, millets need very little inputs. They hardly need any inputs actually. They don't have to manure them. They don't need much irrigation. They can grow from 10 degrees to 45 degrees. Wheat and paddy can't. So they grow. So we talk in those terms. But when we talk of millets, we often forget that there are farmers who have preserved this knowledge for last 7,000-8,000 years. 7,000-8,000 years. And poorest of the poor farmers. Who are these? Tribals. Who are these? The people who are in the lowermost rung of the hierarchy of the caste system, the Dalits. They have grown and preserved these millets. And when we talk of millets, we almost never talk about them. They don't come to our mind first. And I think it's time. They're still in the similar conditions. Their lot has not improved much. Markets have improved, yes. Commerce has improved. Recipes have improved. The chefs have improved. The bloggers have improved. There is no question about all of this is extremely useful for popularizing millets. What about the millet farmers? So, the point I am trying to communicate is the people who are in that traditional knowledge system, they not only gave to us the technology, and they not only gave to us the wealth of the society, they also gave to us the philosophical wisdom. Why I am saying that? For example, Kabir. Kabir was a weaver. 500 years ago, Kabir said, that all of us are familiar with Pothi Pad Pad Jagmua, Pandit Bhayana Koi. We all understand that. Dhai Akhar Prem Ka Pade So Pandit Hoi. Yes, we know that. But he also said, Hindu kahat hain राम हमारा मुसलमान रहमाना आपस में दो लड़े मरत हैं, आपस में दो लड़े मरत हैं, मर्म कोई नहीं जाना, मर्म कोई नहीं जाना। साधो देखो रे जग बौराना, साधो देखो रे जग बौराना. So Kabir said, the world has gone mad. It is fighting in the name of religion and caste. I wonder if Sant Kabir was here today, what he would have written. Would he have the words to explain the kind of violence that we are seeing in our society? So they were all people working with their hands, so-called illiterate. Bulle Shah was, and Bulle Shah's guru was a farmer, a Rai. Mahatma Phule's guru was Mahatma Phule was a gardener. Sant Rahidas was a cobbler. Chokha Meda was a mahad, people who lift the dead bodies of the animals. Bahinabai Chaudhary was a farmer. All of these grand philosophers so Bulle Shah said, how many hundreds of years ago we are seeing that today? He said, mitti mitti nu maran lagi, mitti de hathyar, jis mitti te bahti mati, tis mati hankar, mati kudam karendi yar, mati koda, mati joda, mati da aswar, mati mati nu daudaye, mati di khadkar, mati kudam kare. He says everything is the same soil. It is a reflection of the same nature, of the same superpower. So who is killing whom, and what are we trying to achieve out of it? So all of these things, let me speak, let me sing a kind of a medley of 3-4 songs. The people who are working in their roughest of the conditions, the millet growing farmers, the kind of songs that they have written. For example, so these are songs from hills and forests, large number of them. For example, there is a song from Himachal. It says, a newlywed girl, when she goes to her in-laws, and this is the first crop. It's a song on the mixed cropping of the pearl millet and nagarvel. You know, bajra and nagarvel. And she has grown it successfully. And she is sharing with her mother, okay, look, I have grown, ma, I have grown this. She is saying, bajra bai deta maaye, bajra bai deta sansar loka, manj manj bai diti maaye, nagar velve. This is how women in Himachal sing. They have a long, ending of the line. So she is saying, her mother, ma, I have grown bajra. I have sown it already. And along with it, I have also sown nagarvel, because bajra is hot, nagarvel is cold. So when they grow together, their seeds are also ground together. They are very good for health and they are very nutritious. So, bajra lungi pe aamaye. She's saying, no, the pearl millet has germinated. Bajra lungi pe sansar loka, manj manj lungi pe maaye, nagar velve. It's a long song which tells about the cropping cycle of pearl millet. It's saying now the flowers have come, the grains have come, the bajra is ready, I have harvested it, I have cooked it, and I have consumed it. So this is how, and imagine a child listening to such a song from the birth. It's a great educational system. The kind of songs that these communities, the millet growing communities have created, it's a fantastic educational system. See, for example, there is another song called Dorma Katio Apre Samadiyala Durma Katio. It's from Rajasthan. So he's saying that farther end of the horizon, a cloud has risen. A cloud has risen. It's a song which talks about the way the rains come, the way cloud rises, the way they gather, how the winds blow, how the leaves and all the branches of the trees, they are hurled around, and that is how when it begins raining. So Dhurma Katiyo Apare, then it says Asli hai ke nakli Samadiyala asli hai ke. The song says, is this cloud real or fake? Real meaning it will rain, fake meaning it will disperse. So they have the judgment whether it will grow to a cloud which will rain, and then saying Kuri batta no bijare. Kuri and batta. Batta is barnyard millet and kuri is small millet. Kuri batta no bijare samadiyala kuri batta no. Kuri kodra no bi. Kodra is kodo millet. So they are talking about all of this. Bolo ekai barke samadiyala bolo eke. All these beautiful songs, when we were doing our field work, and this person, a tribal leader, he said, we should have some good visuals with this song. It will be so good. The song is so visual. And there was a person called Moin working in that organization, and he brought that. His camera, he had taken a lot of shots of the clouds. So he brought it and he showed it to him. He says, he says, no, it's not single cloud. It is many clouds. Firstly, one cloud comes. Okay, he showed a list of his gallery of, one clouds. So one cloud, he said, no, this is dark already. The single cloud rises to begin with is white in color. So, and then he brought white colors. He said, no, this is right in the sky. The song talks about white cloud in the horizon. He was not satisfied with hundreds of the kind of finesse which these communities have. I wonder how much it takes to appreciate that kind of a finesse, how fine-tuned they are with our nature, and how they communicate the philosophy. Then it says, today the global warming, everybody is talking about, and people are saying, oh, preserve the forest, plant the forest. It's a different matter. Now our Forest Conservation Act is going to be revised now. Amendments are there, and India will lose around 15% of its forests. It's already on the cards. 2 lakh square kilometers, 200,000 square kilometer. Anyway, that's not important. Important point is, there is a song in Himachal where a person who is to feed green leaves to his herd of sheep and goats, he is talking to the branch of the tree. He is saying, Hariye daliye tu kiyan vadni, ke vadni da dosh lagna. He is asking his branch, how can I cut you? It will be a sin. That is a kind of culture people have grown with. Dali vaddi kari panga rakhna, sar pari kari nanga rakhna, sar pari kari nanga rakhna, hariye daliye tu kiyan vadni, ke vadni da dosh lagna. He says, how can I cut you? How can I cut you? And let me end with one or two things, that the philosophy, how do they teach, how the saint today, anybody who has something to talk is inflated with egos of various kinds. I am something. I have done this. I am a self-made person. Come on, self-made is a fake thing. Nobody is self-made. You were not born by yourself. Somebody gave you some name. Somebody taught you how to walk. Somebody taught you how to eat. Somebody taught you how to talk. Somebody gave you clothes. Somebody taught you in the schools. Come on, somebody taught you in the schools. You grew up and suddenly you're saying, I am self-made. That is height of thanklessness. To my mind, that is height of thanklessness. Nothing is self-made. Nothing is self-made. Nothing is self-made. So he's saying, so there is a woman who is saying, it's a song from Himachal again. He's saying, Boota lai ditta boota lagda nahiyo. She says, I have planted the sapling, but somehow it's not sticking to the soil. It falls down. And then it says, Boota lagyo bagar nahiyo rehna ke bande agaman na kari. He said, don't be egoistic. You plant the sapling, it will stick. Don't worry. But after it sticks to the soil, don't be egoistic and proud that, look, you have planted this. No, it's nature also, that which has, taken it in her lap. And then it says, Boota lagi pe dale lagde nahiyo. It says, Boota, the sapling is stuck now. The branches are not coming. It says the branches will come, don't worry. It's a cycle of nature. But once the branches come, don't be again inflated with your ego that, look, with your labor these branches have come. No, that's not true. Dali lagi pai patte lagde nahi. It traces the whole cycle, the way a plant grows, the life cycle. And it's saying human beings are the same. They are born, they grow, they die. The plant grows, plant is sown, the sapling is planted, it grows, it dies. So don't be proud of it and don't be scared of it. There is no ego, there is no fear here. It's a cycle of the nature. Last thing. We were, doing a study of displacement, myself and my partner Charul. So studying displacement, and we were studying in an area which is very green in Gujarat. It's the Saurashtra region, the coastal belt. It's a cement company, and the underlying geology is limestone, and 90% of the raw material for cement is limestone, and fantastic limestone it has. So all the farmers, all kinds of means the company adopted and snatched away the lands of the farmers. Some people sold it willingly. One farmer, Hari Bhai, he was saying, I am not going to sell my land. You can do whatever you want to do. And then we were talking to Hari Bhai, and we said, Hari Bhai, suppose, how many members are there in your family? He says, if I tell you how many members are there in my family, you will conclude, if I give this land to this company, how many people will be displaced, isn't it? He said, yeah, sort of. He says, you cannot estimate the displacement. And we were, having toolkit of methodologies, research methodologies. And he says, I said, so how are you saying that? He says, you cannot estimate the displacement because he says, I consume only part of the grains that are produced on my farm. Most of it goes outside. How will you count how many people are consuming those grains? You can't. I said, yeah, we can't. He says, and we were satisfied with that explanation. Hari Bhai was not. He says, ours is a very, very green area. And people from other parts of the Saurashtra, from Jamnagar side, when they face drought, they come to our areas for fodder and water. And he says they bring their animals along with it. They give us manure and we give them fodder and water. He says, how will you count how many animals? How will you count? They will all be displaced. Oh, yeah. He says, thousands of birds come to this area from far off. They come from Central Asia. They come from all kinds of places. How will you count those birds who are picking grains in our fields? And he says, sir, lastly I would say, these are the things I can see with my eyes, the birds, the animals, humans. The scientists tell us that below our soil there are millions of small lives whom we cannot see with our naked eye. Sir, how will you count it? And we were stunned because the point that it drove home to us was that our research methodologies are very narrow, are very incomplete. They are too shallow. We talk of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. This world is a family, one future, one earth is everywhere. We say Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, but people like Haribhai and millions of these farmers are living Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. They are living Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, and such people at the end of the whole thing are still asking to us, what are they asking? After 10,000 years of agriculture, after the stone tools made by human beings, 2.3 million years old, stone tools have been found. What is backward? They were first engineers of our society. First engineers. Stone tools may be very primitive, but at that time stone tools were extremely advanced stage of human beings. So let me say, still they continue to face the same dilemma, same questions. What are those questions? La la la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. This is a song which we had written for Right to Information campaign in this country. Sing. मेरे सपनों को, the people who are working with their hands, the millet growing communities, the farmers, the tribals, the pastoral nomads. I think before I end, I must also thank. We are also writing a song on millet at this point of time. We are writing, it's almost done. Let me sing the first two lines of that song. Because today the impression given to us is that as if millets are the gift of India to the world. No, that's not true, sir. That's not true. The three of the best millets, the sorghum, the pearl millet and finger millet, are given by Africa. The barnyard millet was given by Japan. The foxtail millet and one more were given by China, and the three were given by India. So the millets are singing, millets are introducing themselves. What are they saying? हम अफ्रीका जापान से, भारत से, चीन से, रंगों से मिले रंग तो हुए रंगीन से, हम बाजरा सामा है, हम बंटी बरगू नाचनी हम थे, हम हैं, हम कोदरा जोना है, हम पीली हरी कंगनी हम थे, हम हैं. This is how the millets start introducing themselves, and there in the end they are saying in the song, we'll get to share that song with all of you soon. In the end they are saying, the climate can change. We were there, we are there, and we will be there, because we can grow from 10 degrees to 45 degrees. Let the human beings be nourished. Let this earth be flowering all over. That's the kind of farming we need. The millets are talking, but the millet farmers are talking. मेरे सपनों को जाने का हक रे, मेरे सपनों को जानने का हक रे, क्यों सदियों से टूट रहे हैं, इन्हें सजने का नाम नहीं। मेरे हाथों को ये जानने का हक रे, हाथों को ये जानने का हक रे, मेरे हाथों को ये जानने का हक रे, हाथों को ये जानने का हक रे, क्यों बरसों से खाली पड़े हैं, क्यों बरसों से खाली पड़े हैं, इन्हें आज भी काम नहीं, क्यों बरसों से खाली पड़े हैं, इन्हें आज भी काम नहीं। मेरे पैरों को ये जानने का हक रे, पैरों को ये जानने का हक रे, क्यों गांव गांव चलना पड़े रे, क्यों गांव गांव चलना पड़े रे, क्यों बस का निशान नहीं, क्यों गांव गांव चलना पड़े रे, क्यों बस का निशान नहीं। मेरी भूख को ये जानने का हक रे, मेरी भूख को ये जानने का हक रे, क्यों गोदामों में सड़ते हैं दाने, क्यों गोदामों के सड़ते हैं दाने, मुझे मुट्ठी भर धान नहीं, क्यों गोदामों में सड़ते हैं दाने, मुझे मुट्ठी भर धान नहीं। मेरे खेतों को ये जानने का हक रे, खेतों को ये जानने का हक रे, मेरे खेतों को ये जानने का हक रे, खेतों को ये जानने का हक रे, क्यों बांध बने रे बड़े बड़े, क्यों बांध बने रे बड़े बड़े, तो भी फसलों में जान नहीं, क्यों बांध बने रे बड़े बड़े, तो भी फसलों में जान नहीं। मेरी नदियों को जानने का हक रे, नदियों को जानने का हक रे, मेरी नदियों को जानने का हक रे, नदियों को जानने का हक रे, क्यों जहर मिलाएं कारखाने, क्यों जहर मिलाएं कारखाने, जैसे नदियों में जान नहीं, क्यों जहर मिलाएं कारखाने, जैसे नदियों में जान नहीं। मेरे जंगलों को जानने का हक रे, जंगलों को जानने का हक रे, कहाँ डालियाँ वो पत्ते तने मिट्टी, कहाँ डालियाँ वो पत्ते तने मिट्टी, क्यों झरनों का नाम नहीं, कहाँ डालियाँ वो पत्ते तने मिट्टी, क्यों झरनों का नाम नहीं। The last 4 lines, it says, मेरे वोटों को ये जानने का हक रे, वोटों को ये जानने का हक रे, मेरे वोटों को ये जानने का हक रे, वोटों को ये जानने का हक रे, क्यों एक दिन बड़े बड़े वादे, क्यों एक दिन बड़े बड़े वादे, फिर 5 साल काम नहीं, क्यों एक दिन बड़े बड़े वादे, फिर 5 साल काम नहीं। मेरी जिंदगी को जीने का हक रे, Can we all sing together? I'll sing once. Please join.
मेरी जिंदगी को जीने का हक रे, मेरी जिंदगी को जीने का हक रे, अब हक के बिना भी क्या जीना, अब हक के बिना भी क्या जीना, ये जीने के समान नहीं, ये जीने के समान नहीं, अब हक के बिना भी क्या जीना, ये जीने के समान नहीं। क्यों गोदामों में सड़ते हैं दाने, मुझे मुट्ठी भर धान नहीं, कहाँ डालियाँ वो पत्ते तने मिट्टी, क्यों झरनों का नाम नहीं, क्यों खून बहेरे सड़कों पे, क्या सब इंसान नहीं।
Thank you so much. I think I'll be failing in my duty if I specifically do not talk and thank Sanjana who brought me here and allowed me and to share the voice of the people who are growing millets and our farmers. And I should also thank Tista who just whether the balance between mic and this mic is proper. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Should I remove it here? Thank you so much for your presentation, sir. And I really want to say that as a part of India Rural Colloquy, where we have all the type of conversations, this representation was much needed because it is coming straight from the ground and it is representing straight the people who are working on ground. So I feel that India Rural Colloquy will be like incomplete without these voices, and you have represented so well. So thank you so much, sir.
And thank you everyone for coming. Really appreciate your time and being part of this brunch, Millets and More brunch. Thank you. I hope you enjoy the cake and the rest of the food, and we'll be following the colloquy and villagesquare.in. Thank you. Yep, there's still food. Enjoy.